Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Tax Abatement Committee, Tuesday, June 25th, 2024 at 6 p.m. We'll hold a public hearing in the Alderman Chambers, 165 Church Street, New Haven, Connecticut, to hear the following 4 items. Item number 1, LM-2024-0143, order concerning real property taxes of Maria L. Zambrano on motor vehicle tax account 805-765. Item 2, LM-2024-0411, order concerning real property taxes of Chelsea L. James on her motor vehicle tax accounts 87528, 75246, and 76248. Item 3, LM-2024-0217, order concerning real property taxes of James M. Majors on motor vehicle tax accounts 82002, 82447, 80789, and 80773. And last but not least, item number 4, LN-2024-0332, order of the Board of Alders concerning the property taxes of Timothy Kelly Henderson, account numbers 88158 and 78552. These items are on file and available for public inspection in the Office of Legislative Services, 165 Church Street, per order Honorable Jose Crespo, Chair. Attest, Michael Smart, City Clerk. If you need a disability-related accommodation, please call 3 business days in advance at 203-946-7651 voice or 203-946-8582 TTY. Public comment or public testimony may be also submitted via email at publictestimony@newhavenct.gov before 2 p.m. on the day of the meeting. And meeting can also be viewed on the Board of Alders YouTube channel. And I would like to start from my right, if I can have the committee members and guests introduce themselves.
Alder Tony Committee, Ward 21.
Alder Amy Marks, Ward 26.
Alder Carmen Rodriguez, Ward 6.
Alder Jose Crespo, Ward 16, Chair.
Alder Frank Douglas, Ward 2, Vice Chair. Brian Wiggett, Ward 29, Tax Abatement Committee.
Well, good evening, everyone. Alder Whitney, if you wouldn't mind terribly having one of those assigned to Alder Douglas. At this time, I would like to ask Maria L. Zambrano. Tom.
She was scheduled for last month. Nobody to be here.
So she was scheduled last month to be here. This is the second time she's been asked. We'll do one more attempt to have her at the next meeting. I'll ask anyone regarding James, Chelsea James.
I spoke to her yesterday and she said she was gonna be here, but
This is the first.
this is this is the first time for her.
Yeah, that name doesn't sound too familiar. So we'll give Chelsea James a second call and letter for her to come to the next meeting if that'll show up in the next several minutes by the time we close the public portion of the meeting. I'll entertain anyone for item number 3, James M. Majors. Don.
It's the second time around. I sent her a letter. I haven't heard from her.
Second time that she has been,
And she was told that if she didn't attend, it would be drawn.
this is the second or third?
Second.
Do we want to give her a third shot? No need.
If she hadn't contacted, and I said, please contact me.
So she's been given a couple of times to arrive. Haven't heard from her. We'll allow her by the end of this meeting if she wants to come up. And last but not least, the taxes for Timothy Kelly Henderson. Don.
I sent him a letter to be here at this meeting to go over it.
Mhm.
Because there was a lot of information that I was not able to attend to
Indeed.
get from him as far as who it is, where the car is. If you see in your packet, I received Friday a letter from him
as did I.
That's, basically went through all of his demands. And that he was supposed to attend, or it would be, no further action would be taken.
Yeah, and I read the letter that was sent to President Walker Myers and myself, detailing the different specifics that he was looking for. It seems and appears that he's acting he's either as an attorney or as a pro se. And that would mean that we're certainly looking forward to hearing from him. Unfortunately, he's not here this evening, so we'll give him another attempt and contacting him to present before us any proof or any such evidence that would allow for him to state his case and for him to be able to let us know if it's going to be forgiven or if he certainly has to pay it in full. There's been a couple of requests and demands that, have a seat, we'll call you momentarily. Have a seat in the back and we'll call you momentarily. One of the things that we're gonna do is ascertain whether there's any validity to this, and if there isn't, then we'll be able to proceed. One of the things that I noticed in the letter is multiple demands, and then giving us timelines and limits as to when can we respond.
It's a tax bill for it's 2018, brand list 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
Or 2016 Nissan Altima.
I saw that.
And as of this month, it has not been paid, and nothing has been paid off against it.
Right, and one of the things that he demanded of us was to,
Motor vehicles website.
yeah, so for the knowledge of the board, also of the committee, one of the things that this item 4 indicated in his letter was demands for us to respond within 10 business days. And if we needed additional time to send a request for 30 days, no more than 30 business days. Otherwise, it would be null and void where he would owe nothing. But unfortunately, we all know that's not the case. You still owe taxes, and it doesn't have to be in writing. I mean, folks that live in the city know if you have a vehicle or you own property, there are property taxes that you owe. This gentleman is asking for us to send him a letter with proof that we, the city of New Haven, need to collect these items, but that's a foolish journey. We'll give him another opportunity to come before us, and then at that point, we'll hear him out. But given that we've noticed for item number 2, Chelsea James, please come forward. Please have a seat, and if you can state your name and address for the record, please.
Chelsea James, 281 Bassett Street, in Haven, Connecticut.
Good evening, please state your case, and if you could just pull the mic right close to you.
Okay, thank you.
Keep the mic around.
Okay,
State your case.
so, I had, purchased a vehicle back in 2021. It's my first time purchasing my own vehicle by myself, basically, without my parent, and be a man of my age, and I've never done it before. So was wondering why I wasn't getting I called in to get registration recently, basically, to re-register my car. Was unable to because I owed a compliance for insurance. My car my bumper was pulled up, so I wasn't driving it. So I had to pay that because I had to get it fixed in order to drive it. So moving forward, I had to call in to redo my registration. Was unable to after I paid the compliance for $200. I was told to call the tax office again, and I was informed that I owed taxes.
Okay.
So of course I'm like, okay. I go to a private tax person with my boyfriend's mother. It's like a family tax man, so he's well-rounded about getting into seeing if you owe taxes from your addresses and whatnot. And he was like, I can't find any. Because we just got our taxes done, obviously. So I had called in furthermore to I called the assessor's office. I spoke to one of the clerks, I'm assuming, and she let me know that I owed about $1,900 taxes. So I was like shocked, of course, because I work, but I'm also a mother of 3, and I wasn't getting any tax bills. Now, I had to do my research because she was not willing to help me, just being honest. I had to call the motor vehicle. I called the Department of Motor Vehicle. They let me know that basically all of my information, because, well, rewind. The tax lady told me that it was impossible for me to not know that I was having taxes because it would be sent to the address that my car was registered to, wrong. Because my car's registered to my parents' house, which is 2 Hilltop Road, New Haven, Connecticut, 06515. So when I called the DMV, they let me know that, because she also told me, the assessor also told me that any information that they get is given from the DMV. So if the DMV is providing it, that's what is given. They gave me an address that I had when I was in college, going to Southern. It was 21 Maltby. I was rooming with a roommate. So I was like, okay, that doesn't make any sense, because even my license says 2 Hilltop Road, New Haven, Connecticut. I registered the car with my parents at 2 Hilltop Road, because I wasn't, living with my partner at the time. So, I called the DMV. I talked to somebody named a chief administrative person there named Kelly, and she basically ran down everything to me, saying that, when everything was registered, it was registered to both addresses. Everything on my paperwork says both addresses, which means that the documentation was provided to New Haven, so that if anything, they should have provided duplicate bills, so there would be no, misconstruction about whether or not, I owe taxes, which obviously I do. And so after that, when I called back, I was just prompted to talk to an alderman, because at this point, I'm taking Ubers to work. And it's costing me a lot of money, which means I can't get the money. I have 3 kids. I don't get food stamps or any other excess help. You can look me up. I don't have any other help. I work my job, and that's it. And if it ain't taxes and everything else that's getting taken out of it, it's going to me and my kids and the bills. My other ploy was that I just had a baby, and it was really rough because I didn't get as much financial help. So I was out in May because of my leg. So prior to me actually getting any maternity leave to catch one bills, I was out for almost 6 months of my pregnancy, which means like I'm backed up already trying to clean up. So I'm just here to get some help so I can get my car registered, so I can get to work, so I don't have to have extra bills like paying $200 Lyft bills every week, which is a lot because then nobody's getting paid, and I'm just running out of money.
I agree. Thank you for sharing that and being so candid with us. I wanted to ask, the totality of the taxes that you owe is $1,946.89. Less the interest, it'll be $1,523.66.
That's fine.
Okay.
I know I have to pay taxes. I mean, I know I do, but I'm trying to save it.
So if we remove the interest, you'll be able to pay the taxes.
Not right now, this moment, but I'm saving for it. So like, the interest is gonna keep accruing everything.
So a couple of things that we can do is we can remove the interest, and I believe it's 90 days that we can provide,
Okay,
where you can pay the taxes in full.
okay.
But I also wanted to inform that
Chair,
I noticed, thank you, Alder.
thank you.
One of the things that the city is not obligated to do is to provide you an actual piece of mail letting you know that you owe taxes.
Okay,
The individuals who own property have to know that they owe taxes, or either the vehicle or property.
oh yeah, my dad is on my neck about it right now, so.
Yeah, so, but it would be great if those bills were arriving to your property.
Yeah.
The other property, but, because a lot of folks come before us and like, well, I never received it, and it's one of the things where they don't have to send it, but we have the courtesy to send it to folks' property.
Understood.
But that's just something that it's almost a double-edged sword, but that's neither here nor there. Done.
Do you still have this car?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then you've got another tax bill that we do.
Oh, I know, my father told me. Yeah.
You've got another probably $300.
Yeah, I know.
So, how recently you just had your kid, if you don't mind?
She's about to be she's about to be born on August 15th of 2023.
Okay. And Don, do you know what's the next bill that's gonna hit? Is it gonna be right in July?
July, they should be coming out now.
Okay.
The first half of this year. Half
Yeah.
July, half in December.
Do you know the actual amount? Is it like
I'm assuming based on what it was before, it's gonna be approximately $300.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it's going up.
Oh, yeah.
I see every year it went up. So it might be close to 500.
Well, it'll be roughly 500 for the year, but it's for
Right.
the first half.
So like 250 or 300, all right, I got it.
The tax, I know the mill rate increased, but the
Yeah.
age of the vehicle
It does.
also increased, so the value of the vehicle decreased.
So I guess my follow-up question would be, given that it might go up to 1,800, which is, almost close to what you owe now,
Right.
less the interest, would 90 days be helpful for you?
Yeah, 90 days is okay.
Okay. Committee, questions?
Mr. Chair.
None.
If you give her 90 days to do that, you may want to include the current
Mhm.
tax year to
Mhm.
forgive the interest, even though the interest won't be that great, it will still be
Mhm.
additional to it.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Alder Wingy.
So, thank you for, presenting. So I'm trying to get to numbers, right? I'm a bottom line type guy, right? So if should we do this now in deliberation or should we do it in deliberation?
Do you have a direct question for her? Any additional comments we can deliberate?
Okay, thank you so much, Chair. Taking away the interest, giving you the 90 days, us having more discussion around the July, interest, removing interest. Do you think you're gonna be able to complete it? Paying all of it? When, yeah, maybe, I don't have a calculator, I don't know. You say 18, I look at 13?
Yeah.
1823. Okay. Are you gonna be able to do that in 90 days? Because like I wanna be realistic about it,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
are you gonna be able to successfully get that done?
I'm gonna go back a little bit under, and I'm gonna add that instead of being 18, if we're gonna have the whole year, it's potentially 2,082,
Okay.
which if you break it down in 3 months, you're looking at 695 a month. And you don't have to pay it month by month, it has to be at once. in
Oh, wait, they
90
can only
days.
be at one sum
One large lump sum, within 90 days.
within the 90 days.
Now, does that make sense, Alder?
Yeah, I would have to do my own numbers, Chair, no disrespect to that. I'm quite sure your numbers are close to where it's gonna be. I just wanna make sure that this young lady is gonna be able to successfully get it done, instead of having to come back to us with a tax abatement situation. And hopefully, in deliberation, maybe we can come up with a different number.
Mhm.
That's more reasonable that she can successfully complete. Chair,
If you can say that one more time.
I'm gonna say it one more time. What I just said, Chair. Hopefully we can discuss, a reasonable amount that she successfully can complete within the 90 days in the midst of our discussion. So she won't have to come back, to the tax abatement. I think that's what I said. I think I said it better the first time.
Any additional questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Oh, sorry.
So the question would be, would you be able, with a lesser amount than $2,000, be able to complete the payments?
Yeah. It's essentially one of my paychecks. They'll be taking like a whole paycheck from the household every month.
I yield.
Thank you, Alder Wingy.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
1 second. What would you be able to afford within 90 days, is my question. Out of the 2,082,
Yeah.
if we were to incorporate, I'm looking at the past tax years, The last one was 2022 at 559.44, which is the highest one.
Yeah.
So I incorporated 559 to the current balance of 1523.66, giving me a total of 2,082 with 66 cents. Out of 2,082, what can you afford? Within 90 days.
Honestly, if I could use my credit card, I could probably do like 1,100.
Okay. 100. And the reason why I'm asking is because I'm also thinking, that's why I inquired earlier how recent, because I like to take that into consideration at deliberation when I talk to my committee. Because we understand that hardships happen, and anything that we can do to help, that's what we're here for. We're gonna try to help as much as possible.
Am I done?
Mr.
No.
Chair,
I need some tissue, we need some tissue.
Mr. Chair.
She's crying.
May we
Point of
get-
order, let's go,
A
let's
moment of silence.
5-minute recess.
Yes.
Just hit pause.
I think we need anchor.
Should you pause it?
You got the power to get her like.
I don't know.
Are we in pause?
She's saying I can afford this much.
So,
Because she
Yeah, I'll
also
figure out how to pause
that's the only thing
Um,
that's pushes me.
Can we pause that for a
yes.
second?
I,
Director Lucas, can we pause this a second? We just want to give her a moment. No?
No.
Okay.
We get the same experience as somebody in the room.
yeah, no, my class.
Okay.
Like me, I might not even see them. That's the reason why I'll reach them was, because I'm thinking that's a hardship.
Mm-hmm.
One week covered. We're on the same page.
It sets bad precedents.
Okay.
You can forgive the interest, but if you start forgiving the tax itself because she still owns the car,
Yeah.
it sets a precedent, which means somebody could come in here and say, I can't afford to pay, it. Can you forgive it?
Yeah.
And legally, you're caught in a catch-22.
Well, I mean, we what we're doing is we're gonna.
Are we
Chair
on
can-
now?
Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. We're still.
Yeah,
Are we
we're still
live?
being recorded. We're
Yes,
still
we get the
live.
same experience of being in the room. Okay. Whatever people in the room can see, they can see. I mean,
So
I
at the
think
end of
we
the day,
should stay where we at, Chair.
so
You can deliberate in deliberation.
No,
Okay.
they're taking a break.
Doesn't matter how you think, you deliberate.
based on what she's saying, I'm gonna take that check out. I think that's more than. I think 11. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so.
We're back in session.
Sorry.
No worries.
Okay.
It's okay. No worries. Any additional questions from the committee?
Thank you for coming here. Probably difficult. Would you mind sharing with us what your monthly income is?
So right now I'm between everything you take out of my taxes plus, well, the reason why there's actually take out my taxes because sorry.
You
It's-
can put it on there.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, it's because of, like, what do you call it? Like for taxes and stuff like that. So like I owe some taxes, back, from working back in 2020 when I was younger. So that came back from like, everything like prorated back from COVID and stuff like that. And I don't know if it happened to anybody else, but it did it to me. they like froze it and then it came back and it opened back up. So right now my checks are like $600 a week and my rent is $1,800 a month.
Thank you for sharing that information.
So,
That's all, that's all.
okay.
I appreciate your being clear with us, and I don't need you to share too much of your personal information.
Okay.
Just wanted to be able to have a sense of your financial capacity to pay. I heard you
Yeah.
speaking about putting things on credit card bills and
Yeah.
credit cards, and I just wanted the committee to be aware of sort of what your monthly income was, and we've heard about your rent also. Thank you for sharing.
Any additional questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Okay.
We'll be in touch. You can call down tomorrow and I'll let you know what the committee will recommend.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for listening.
Of course.
Thank you. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Um, Do we have a Timothy Kelly Anderson in the room? Okay. Does anybody wish to testify on items 1 through 4? Does anybody from the committee or from the audience rather wish to testify? Does anybody from online wish to testify?
Right. No, we don't.
Or any public testimony?
No, there's not.
I move we close.
Anybody, point of clarity. Does anybody from the public wishing to testify in favor or against? Seeing none, Alderman Gay.
I move we close the public portion.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicated with an eye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? The ayes have it, I hereby close the public portion of this meeting. For item number 1, we're gonna provide another opportunity for her to come down. She'll give another notice. I'll entertain, actually, for items number 3 and 4, we'll also give them an opportunity to walk. For number 4, was this the third time done?
Which one?
Majors, James Majors. We'll give them an opportunity to come back, send them another
Right,
letter.
it's out.
It's the second time.
And then the last one, send them another letter. That's all we can do. I'll entertain a motion for item number 2 regarding Chelsea L. James. Alder Douglas.
Mr. Chair, I think given this,
Move it.
I move,
Alder Douglas.
I move item 2. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Alder Douglas.
I think given the circumstances of this young woman, I mean, I know anybody could use that excuse, but I think she's really seen some hard times and she was not aware. And that is a problem for a lot of young people that don't know the system. A lot of old people too that just don't know our tax system. And by them not getting notice, it makes it a little difficult. So if I am not, what I propose that we forgive the interest and do a 33 1/3% of the remainder taxes due. I think that would bring it to $1,100. So it would be $2,082.66 minus the interest. I can hear you. Bring it to
You know this is live, right? Y'all do know this is live.
So, point of clarity, forgive the interest, and reduce the taxes to 1,100. Okay? Alder Wingate.
Thank you so much, Chair. This is my first time being on this committee. So, I don't know all the nuances, right? And all the legal stuff, I guess. But I was taken aback of the situation of the person that came before us, in reference to, the actual situation, right? A lot of times, you know, people have real hardships, right? And I don't care if you have a job or not, you know what I mean? $1,800 for rent with 3 kids is a whole lot, right? So I think we'll be doing right by her and also the city by getting the $1,100 that you put out there for, right? So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Alder Wingate, and I have to agree. One of the things that I do is I ask the right questions to elicit direct responses.
Yeah.
The fact that she indicated 1,100 was what she could afford, given the circumstances, I would entertain that as an opportunity to provide some assistance. So I would also be inclined to provide that help. That's the interest, bring it down to 1,100. What does the rest of the committee have to say? Alder Rodriguez.
May, Mr. Chair?
Alder?
I'm just would like a reclarification of the math we're talking about. We're talking about waiving the interest. We're
Correct.
talking about paying on the principal, including July. And how much was that bill?
I can't.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I guess I'm just trying to understand the math again. Is that okay, Mr. Chair, if I
Say it
ask
again.
again the math? So I believe we're talking about a bill including July. Is that correct, Mr. Hayden? Okay.
The 1,800 would be
Mr. Chair.
approximately including
Eight,
July.
I understand. So we're, Mr. Chair, talking about 1,800 with the July. Is that right, Mr. Chair?
Incorrect. 2,082 with July's. Approximately.
I'm sorry, I'm looking right now at, it says 1,523.66 is the total.
Okay,
And I heard Mr. Hayden say that it's,
point of clarity.
I need help.
Let me repeat what I said earlier. I'm going to take the 1,523 with 66, and I'm going to take 2022's last tax year of 559, and I'm going to add it to the 1,523, which is going to total 2,082. Which would be, or 2,083 rather, which would be the total cost she would have to pay, less the interest. If we were to forgive the interest and consider taking some of it off the top, we would then bring it down to 1,100.
2,083 bill down to 1,100.
Correct. Done.
The bill is only going to show the first half of the new year.
Mhm.
So if you try to increase that total, it's not going to carry over. In other words, if you're saying you reduce it by 1,100, then we'll only take 1,100 out of the 1,800 that will be due. The second payment, because it has not been realized that it's being due, would still show up in January.
You know, it's different from the full bill is gonna show.
Right.
You just have the option of paying half and half. So she's gonna see the full bill in July, but it'll break it up so you can pay half in July and half in January. But what Donna's saying is you need to keep both halves in consideration because the only thing that they're going to be looking for necessarily in July is that first half. But you gave us the full amount.
Correct.
Right? So the number that was added by the chair was a yearly amount, not a half.
Was the totality
It was
of
like
Frank, you
Of the
were
tax.
such that stuff shows up instead of on the back end.
the total.
Correct.
The total, yeah. We'll put that in.
So I'll repeat that one more time for clarity. Tax year 2022, the total year was 559,024.
Mhm.
If we take that and we add it to the full amount that she owes, because we don't have a tax in front of us, we don't have a tax bill.
That's right,
So I'm going by the last year's bill,
that's right.
which means it'll bring us to 2,082.
I can probably get 23.
Now?
At this point, it's no worries. The totality will be 2,082. If we were to forgive the interest and also consider bringing some of the taxes apart, we'll bring it down to 1,100. Which means theoretically, she's almost getting a 50% cut, which is more than enough, at least in my perspective.
Mine still.
May I
Mine
ask
still.
another
Sure.
question, Mr. Chair? I also am new to the committee, so trying to understand what our options are. And I understand an option to waive interest. I understand there's options to reduce the principal at our discretion, which you're suggesting. I'm eager to hear if there are options of making the payment plan longer so that the principal was the right amount, but there was a longer time frame to pay.
No. The only time that happens is if she comes before us and asks for an extension. At which point, I would have to make the decision before the board to extend it by 30 days. Done.
What would happen is, if she couldn't pay it within the 90 days, it would require a motion to amend the matter previously approved.
Right.
To change the date that it was due.
Correct.
It wouldn't come before the committee again.
Right.
It would go before the board,
So it
so.
will be for me to make that amendment on the board on the floor. Make sense?
and
Yes.
We would only do that if she wasn't able to pay right then and there. We wouldn't put a future thinking that she wouldn't pay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to share what I'm struggling with, and I'm happy to state publicly. I think it's something that I heard Alderman Gate speak of. I think that, too many of our residents have insufficient income to meet their needs. I think too many of our citizens in the town have rent burdens that are just too high. And I just want to make sure that this is just one example of one of tens of thousands of people, including women with children. And that we have some, in addition to all the things that we as the Board of Alders are trying to do to increase income and to reduce rent, and that we do have a fair standard on this committee of, what's fair when for so many of us, income is not sufficient for our needs. And I just really wish there was a way to make payment plans longer, rather than reduce your burden, feeling that your tax burden is your tax burden, which we set and we try to set fairly and equitably as best we can. And wish there was a way to be doing extensions of timeframes on payments rather than reduction of principal, which on some levels leaves those who find us and come to us, and in some ways an unfair benefit from everybody else who's out there. So that's just what I'm struggling with. No.
Duly noted. Just for a point of clarity, these bills go back to 2020. They just didn't rise up out of nowhere. So she had 4 years to pay this, not just 90 days. So take that into consideration as well when you're weighing in the pros and cons.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
In addition, when I listen, what can you afford? I can take it as face value when someone says this much. At that point, I'm telling you, I'm asking you, what can you pay us? What can you pay the city that you owe? And if you're telling me I can pay that, I'm not gonna question it. I'm gonna take that as face value and say, that's the cap at a minimum that I'm gonna entertain going forward. All doing it.
I have no more to say. I think we go with that. I think that, for me, it's a learning process.
Yeah.
Right, and understanding where we are right now in the city and people struggling and stuff. And, you've been doing this for a long time, so I've got to follow your leadership and your role in this. And that's what I'm gonna do.
Appreciate you. Other Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for inviting me to your committee this
Of
evening.
course.
I think that it's very important that we get the tax year for 2023. And I hear exactly, I heard what you asked and what the response was. So I think in lieu of what the young lady said, I would recommend that we get the 2023 exact bill amount, and you're saying remove the interest, which perhaps after all that is calculated with the 2023 may end up being that 1,100 that you asked and she said she could agree to pay.
Okay. I mean,
That's right.
So the interest is what we're looking to
forgive.
forget. Okay,
We're forgiving that just the interest, some of the taxes as well.
no, exactly, but I'm just staying here from the question you initially asked regarding the interest. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Of course. Additional questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor to approve this item regarding forgiving the interest and bringing it down to 1,100, please indicate with an aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Ayes have it. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, please indicate with an aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. I hereby adjourn.